creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
This is Black Jaguar. Gorgeous. I'm sure this was the movie called Nephilim that was banned by the USA.
You know that, according to the Bible, Leviathan is alive, and in the depths of the ocean, several people, guided by God, claim that Leviathan resides there. The first example is found with King David. When he spoke about the sea, he said that ships sail there. He added that in those waters, Leviathan plays as if it were an amusement park. A clearer example is when God spoke with Job, asking him if he could pull Leviathan out of the sea, and affirming that this creature is in the depths. Something impressive that God said is that humans' transcripts would not withstand a fight against this being, much less be able to face him. But did Leviathan has already given some signs to humans about its existence? In 2010, American scientists detected a strange sound under the sea near Argentina and Chile. At first, it was thought to be a submarine or something similar, which was later ruled 98 feet. So far, this remains a mystery. But did you know that the Bible tells us that at the end of times, Leviathan will emerge from the dead? And you, where on the planet do you think Leviathan is hiding?
Job 41, verse 1 to 34. This chapter describes Leviathan in detail, portraying it as a fearsome and uncontrollable creature of immense size and strength. I think part of this comes from the movie. What do you think? This is too pretty to be real. I call AI.
Always remember, family first, always. But when family chooses to lie, manipulate, and cover up at your expense, they aren't family anymore. Blood isn't everything. A jealous family member is more dangerous than a hateful enemy. If you agree with me, type 100. In the comments, God bless.
You know, blood has gotten thinner through the generations. Family and what it was. SR-72 Dogstar, you know, a concept stealth aircraft supposedly in development, which was heavily featured in Top Gun, you know, Maverick.
Drinking, you were abusing alcohol toward the end of your relationship with your prior partner, Vanessa Paradis, correct?
I was drinking.
You were drinking pretty heavily.
Were you there?
Yeah, bro. He went on to Jack Sparrow mode.
Most people don't know that Thailand plans to construct a 100-kilometer canal to help China circumvent U.S. military influence in the region. This project would allow for the bypass of the Strait of Malacca, shortening the transit route of oil and other goods to China by 1,200 kilometers and enabling Chinese vessels to avoid U.S. ships. The United States has strongly opposed this project, as the construction of the canal could significantly alter the strategic balance in the region, reducing U.S. capability to monitor and control maritime traffic. Singapore also opposes the canal, concerned that its construction could undermine Singapore's status as a crucial international trade hub. Additionally, the project's potential to provide China with new naval bases in Sri Lanka and Pakistan raises geopolitical tensions in the region. Given the estimated cost of $28 billion, the feasibility of financing and completing such a large-scale infrastructure project poses a significant challenge for both China and Thailand's economies. Do you think is it possible to build it?
If Thailand and China agree to make a canal, who is the US and Singapore to say no? Beautiful. You know, Scotland, Norway, Switzerland, top 3 places I would love to visit. Nephilim Hebrew word meaning giants. So why people call Nephilim giants? Look at that. Alright, I want one of everything.
This is the final edition of 2017 Ferrari LaFerrari. Only 210 units production. Perte was made by Ferrari to celebrate the Ferrari's high-performance engine, the 70 years. Oh, sorry, please. It says don't touch.
No, it does not say you don't touch.
You touch, you buy.
No problem. What about the interior?
Carbon fiber again, bucket seats, Alcantara, leather. Please do not see it.
What flag is this flag?
Of course, it's Italy, because it's a Ferrari.
Mamma mia. What about the engine?
Come, let me show you. This is the engine, and it's very beautiful. First, because it's exposed, because of
This
course
guy.
you have to admire this V12. 12 engine, which as well the engine cover itself is in carbon fiber. It produces around 970 horsepower.
970 horsepower. I can just look back and I can see the engine right there. Is this loud?
It's loud.
I want to hear it.
Whoa! It's not very smart. What are you doing, man?
I feel like I just got born again. How much?
21 million.
What about that one?
It's 18 million.
What about both of them?
For you, 40.
40?
Bro, she's playing you. 20 plus 18 is 38. And she says, for you, 40 million.
Was a mutiny that shocked the world. This Japanese nuclear submarine actually overshot and crashed directly into the U.S. aircraft carrier. Due to the possibility of carrying nuclear warheads on the submarine, the commander of the U.S. 7th Fleet had to order the engine to shut down, and the rudder to the left to avoid the impact of the submarine seabat. But the Japanese submarine is like bullshit paste, and quickly turned the direction to follow the rear of the aircraft carrier, although surrounded by the U.S. 7th Fleet. But with nuclear weapons on the submarine, the Japanese Captain Kaida Shiro arrogantly shouted to the commander of the U.S. 7th Fleet,
我々は独立を宣言する。独立国ヤマトの建国を宣言する。
Just when the U.S. commander was dumbstruck, the Japanese military suddenly broke into the 7th Fleet's ensignment, directly ignoring the U.S. aircraft carrier fleet to open communication equipment to the Seabat to negotiate with Kaida Shiro, persuade the Seabat to return to port, otherwise it is necessary to use force. Kaida Shiro listened to a smile, agreed to the other party's request for negotiations. The captain then took a kayak to the submarine Seabat for negotiations, but the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet called and ordered the 7th Fleet to sink Seabat. The admiral ordered the gun to fire, and the destroyer quickly adjusted its muzzle to target the Seabat. But the missile did not directly hit the Seabat, but exploded 150 meters away from the submarine. Kaida Shiro immediately understood the intention of the other side. The 7th Fleet commander is afraid of nuclear warhead explosion lead to the same death, deliberately deflecting the anti-submarine missile. So he immediately ordered the submarine to dive at full speed, out of the encircle of the US fleet. On the other side, the failed Japanese Libo submarine also followed up. At the same time, the American commander ordered an anti-submarine aircraft to drop anti-submarine bombs directly in front of the Seabat in an attempt to stop her, and the submarine fired 2 torpedoes directly at the Seabat at a speed of 300 knots. Kaida Shiro quickly ordered the bow to hit full, and then dived at full speed, successfully avoiding 2 torpedoes, and then the Seabat immediately launched a counterattack, using the bubble sound generated by the explosion as a cover, and successfully circled directly below the vertical wave submarine.
Yeah, this is a movie. Japan has no nuclear submarines. They hardly have guns.
You guys remember that story from Isaiah where the Assyrian army was marching to Jerusalem and God said that I will not let them enter Jerusalem, and he sent an angel, came down and killed the entire army?
Dang.
But they had apparently just found proof of that battle.
No way.
Yeah.
No way?
This archaeologist was like digging and found this old ancient Assyrian coin looking thing. And basically what it was, if I understand it right, it was a layout for an army and like what mountain peaks that they're at and stuff. And he's like, oh, this matches what I've seen in this one region, but no one had explored or dug or lived in this region for thousands of years. And so he went there and did pictures and stuff, and sure enough, it matched up exactly where this battle would have taken place.
That's insane, dude.
And I think they're still continuing to dig and like find stuff of like the Assyrian soldiers.
Biblical archaeology has fantastic finding and largely confirms the biblical factual records. Germany Els Castle. But Donald Trump and Joe Biden ain't dead, though. They're still alive.
This is why the North Sea is the most dangerous part of the ocean. In 1986, a group of British Royal Navy divers were conducting a mission in a region of the North Sea. Their task was simple: to locate a sunken ship that was carrying important information. The ship mysteriously lost communication and was thought to have sunk in the early 1900s. The group got their submarine ready and made their way down. Everything was going well, and after 3 hours, the men had spotted the ship in the distance. As the submarine was getting closer, the Navy divers realized that it was no ship, but instead it was a large entrance to an underwater cave network. They didn't know this at the time, so they got curious and made their way inside the caves. Immediately, there were strange sounds coming from deep down. As they continued exploring, the caves had finally come to an end, but there was something weird. There was a section of the cave that was precisely dug out as if it were a burrow for a creature. As the submarine pointed its flashlights inside, the men were terrified. There was a massive eyeball the size of a house staring directly at them. It was clearly not any creature that we know of, and the men immediately rushed back to the surface in fear. They quickly managed to get some photos. If you want to see them, comment view images. Do you really think that 2,600 years ago, in a time when there were no cranes, the Egyptians built the pyramids by relying on a large amount of labor to carry the monoliths up? You're underestimating the ingenuity of the ancient Egyptians. The pyramids, one of the 7 wonders, were built with 2.3 million boulders. The largest stone is over 100 tons. How many years would it have taken to build such huge stones by human labor alone? And the stones of the pyramid are so tightly connected that even a thin card can hardly be inserted. Are the pyramids really built by the legendary aliens? In fact, after decades of research, archaeologists dug up a sketch in the rocks near the pyramid. The sketch shows the general construction process of the pyramids, and the closest answer to the truth has finally been revealed. Most Egyptians lived near the Nile River, and they utilized water to its fullest extent. The ancient Egyptians mined boulders in the Giza quarries. Then they used animal skins and stomachs to make a system of inflatable buoys. And then they tied the boulders to the buoy system with ropes.
Okay.
When the water in the Nile rises, the boulders are slowly lifted by the buoyancy of the buoy system. And then the Nile flowed all the way down to where the pyramids were built, creating a constant supply of stone for the pyramids to be built. So how were such heavy stones transported up to 100 meters high? In fact, the Egyptians built a huge ramp around the pyramid, and then brought water up the slope. The boulders would be lifted up the slope with a system of buoys, and then the buoys would be removed when they reached a specified height, and then the boulders would be moved and put back together by hand. Although that's just a scientist's theory. No one knows how the pyramids were actually built. Do you think it's possible that the pyramid stones were transported by water?
Interesting. Let me know how you feel about this. Come on, man. And nobody see it? That is as real as my $10 billion bank account.
9 life lessons everyone learns too late. 1. God knows when to send you exactly what you need. 2. Being private. Staying low-key and not telling everyone everything is self-care. 3. Seek respect, not attention. It lasts longer. 4. There will always be someone who doesn't see your worth. Don't let it be you. 5. Time always exposes what you truly mean to someone. 6. Be careful who you trust. Salt and sugar look the same.
Ooh.
7. No regrets.
Salt and sugar.
Just do better next time.
Yep.
8. Remember, some things have to end for better things to begin. 9. Life will separate you from your friends, so appreciate each moment you have together.
Such amazing video, and the words are so wise and inspirational. Love it. Evergreen, orbs of paradise give me anxiety.
Imagine a civilization so advanced that can control a whole galaxy. They are like cosmic wizards who have access to unlimited sources of energy, from intergalactic travel to controlling quantum levels. This is a Type 3 civilization.
We have a lot of AI clips today. I hope it's okay with you folks.
They are hiding this from you. Did you know that the Great Wall of China is 13,171 miles long? And why has it always been downplayed throughout history? To put that in perspective, from the east to the west coast of America, it is on average 3,000 miles. You have to times that by 4 and add 1,000, and you're still not at that number. It leaves you to wonder, how did they build such a wall, and why? Did you even know that China was that big? They started to build the Great Wall of China in 220 BC, before Jesus had even walked the earth. No sane ruler or country would dedicate that many resources and power to build something with no purpose, especially if they knew it would take over 1,000 years to build the finished wall. Who were they defending against that they needed all 13,000 miles to even fathom winning? What or who were they so scared of?
I remember hearing about the way the wall faces China to keep whatever was in China from getting out. If I remember correctly.
You know hell has its own angels? The crazy, bizarre facts I'm going to tell you will astonish you. After the war in heaven, a third of the angels were cast out due to Lucifer's rebellion. They fell for days into the abyss and awoke in a strange and hostile land. Archangels transformed into archdemons. Among them were the 7 princes of hell. Leviathan, the prince of envy, towers over the infernal seas with a mouth said to be the hell gate itself. Mammon, the prince of greed, promises wealth and power in exchange for human souls. Azazel, the prince of wrath, lay with human women, and his offspring became the Nephilim. Belphegor, the prince of sloth, is the lord of fire who was banished from heaven for remaining neutral during the war. Asmodeus, the prince of lust, desired a mortal woman named Sarah and jealously murdered 7 of her husbands. Beelzebub, the prince of gluttony, is the lord of flies and the chief lieutenant of the abyss. Lucifer, the prince of pride, is the first of the fallen and the grand ruler of hell, commanding all demonic armies. But these are just a few of the dark and mysterious figures that inhabit the underworld. Who knows what other secrets hell holds? Follow me to uncover more hidden truths.
Mammon, a lot of celebrities and a lot of your favorite ones at that.
What is the bravest race in the world? Most Americans think that Jews are the bravest race because Israel beat the Arab coalition in 5 Middle East wars, but I tell you not. So what is the bravest race in the world? 5th place, the British Germanic people. The empire established by the Germanic people was also a legend, and only Britain was able to withstand Germany's bombing during World War I and World War II. The 4th place goes to the German nation, which has provoked 2 world wars and swept across Europe in the shortest possible time. The 3rd place goes to the Slavs of Russia, who thanks to their fierce fighting style, became the world's largest country for hundreds of years. The second place goes to the Yamato people of Japan, who are known for their tenacity and willingness to die. Japan is one of the least surrendering ethnic groups. Before announcing the first place, write in the comments section what you think is the bravest ethnic group. The ethnic group ranked first has been plagued by frequent wars for thousands of years, and their indomitable spirit of struggle has long been present. This ethnic group is the Han ethnic group.
Gorgeous. I'm a huge Scotland and Ireland fan. I just love it and want to visit Scotland so bad. I start to love Scotland from the movie Braveheart. You know, the place, the never-ending highlands, so lovely and peaceful.
Alpha wants to stop the bear eating. Harass him until he leaves. Brown bears aren't afraid of wolves. He's the strongest, and he knows it.
Oh.
Alpha is no longer able to lead. Immediately all eyes turn to the other son. Everyone submits to the new leader, but not She-Wolf. She will not abandon her lifelong companion.
Wolf is so loyal.
When wolves find a partner, the bond is for life.
You know, I found the documentary is called The Snow Wolf, A Winter's Tale.
Have you ever wondered why do wind turbines spin so slowly, but they can still generate electricity? So, how much electricity can one revolution generate? Actually, wind power generation uses wind to drive the blades to rotate. Then, it increases the speed through a gearbox to match the asynchronous generator's speed to achieve stable frequency and voltage output. Usually, wind turbines have a power output of about 2,000 kilowatts, rotate 17 times per minute, can generate 2,000 kilowatt hours per hour. The daily electricity generation is equivalent to the power generated by 11 tons of high-quality coal. It is one of the most environmentally friendly clean energy sources, since it's wind power. Is it better if the wind is stronger? Actually, it's not. The blades of the turbine are generally about 50 meters long. Each blade weighs 15 tons. If such heavy blades were to spin at high speeds, the blades could easily break and could even catch fire. So, when the wind speed is too high, the blades will adjust their angle to change the wind-facing area, effectively protecting the generator unit.
Well, you know, nuclear power is the answer.
Hitler had been looking into ancient documents, ancient texts, tablets, stones, scrolls, papyruses from all around the world long before that happened. He had been sending his troops all around the world, even to Tibet, to talk to these wisdom keepers and sages about ancient knowledge of advanced technology. He already knew that there was an advanced civilization on Earth long before we got here. And he wanted to tap into that so that he can use that to reverse engineer it to take over the world. He was successful in creating a couple of Haunebu craft. He created Haunebu 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these were circular flying craft that had gun turrets on them. Haunebu, right? H-A-U-N, Haunebu, right? There goes one right there. They flew the first one in 1936. So you see, this is a long time ago. And there's actually an image, an old image that was put up online of one of these Haunebu on a test flight. It only made a quick hop, but it got off the ground. And also, you know, they discovered that down here in Antarctica, there was an area there that supposedly some of these ancient people, that's an American one right there. We created that one. They found out that there's a hole inside of Antarctica, about a 30-meter wide opening, and that there were people there, these Aryan people, okay? So the whole thing behind the Aryan race thing wasn't about blonde hair and blue eyes specifically with him, because he didn't have blonde hair and blue eyes. It was these people that were down there that did, and he wanted to access their knowledge because they had access to advanced technology according to what I researched.
I saw that on Indiana Jones.
Listen, I want you to try this for 21 days straight, and I guarantee your life will never be the same. You want to repeat this at least 3 times every single day, best in the morning and right before bed. After 21 days, I want you to come back to this video and comment all of the crazy things that have unfolded in your reality. This is what you need to repeat for 21 days in a row. Universe, I am open and ready for you to start conspiring in my favor to make my dreams come true, and I request a clear sign in my reality to come to me today. I am open, I am ready, thank you. Now your only job is to stay open and notice all the stuff that shows up in your life. If you believe in this message, type thanks universe in the comments. God bless.
Pray to God in the name of Jesus Christ is the way to go.
Kings of the East come, they will come with an army of 200 million. Now, what makes it interesting is that Time magazine ran an article in 1963 that China boasted that they had a standing army and militia of 200 million. The other thing that John said when he looked at the army, he said the army came and they were blue and yellow and red in terms of the colors that they brought. Those are all military colors of China.
Here are 3 facts that I'm sure you didn't know. The United States and Australia are half a planet away. But if we bring them closer, we'll see that the west coast of Australia almost perfectly fits together with the east coast of the United States. Moving to Europe, there is a lake in Finland called Lake Niitokainen. The special thing about this lake is that it looks exactly like Finland. The most distant point from any ocean is the Eurasian Pole of Inaccessibility, or IPIA, and it is located in China's Xinjiang region near the border with Kazakhstan.
I heard it's because the continents was originally one big supercontinent called Super Pangea. I think this is a game.
This is a bizarre scene captured by tourists in the wild. A male lion seemed to have discovered an opponent that terrified him, causing him to not only stop advancing, but also to start slowly retreating. How powerful could this opponent be to make a male lion feel scared? The next moment, a man walked over slowly, leaving everyone stunned. Why did this man have such courage, and why was the lion so afraid of him? The man appeared to have neither peanuts nor a burning stick, yet the lion behaved as if it had encountered an elephant, showing extreme timidity. What was the man's background that made the king of the savannah choose to retreat? It turns out they are all local guides with a very special status, known as lion tamers. These men, holding wooden sticks, are local Maasai warriors. According to their tradition, adulthood is marked by subduing a lion. This centuries-old tradition has ingrained a deep fear of them into the lions. Under the Maasai's guidance, tourists can safely interact with lions up close. Even a single glance from a Maasai warrior is enough to make a male lion tremble with fear. Thus, these mighty and imposing lions appear so docile in their presence.
On a different note, I'm wondering how our brothers were colonized, if they are capable of making a lion trembling with fear. Will anyone ever cross the ice wall and tell us what's over there?
Russia wins this war and manages to extend control from this land bridge to Crimea to all of Ukraine. It will mark the first defeat of NATO. This would allow Russia to have a greater defensive position against the so-called NATO threat by controlling a significant part of the European plain opening. Additionally, Russia would control more than half of the Black Sea. If Russia wins, its next target will almost certainly be Moldova. And with the pretext of liberating Transnistria, Russia will annex Moldova, which would stand no chance against Russia. With control over Ukraine, Moldova, Kaliningrad, and Belarus on its side, Russia would likely put pressure on the Baltic states. By closing the Suwalki Gap, and with NATO being able to reinforce them only from Finland and Sweden, sadly, Russia would have a big chance of defeating them, and Europe will return to the 1989 Soviet Union borders. Since the Baltic states are NATO members, the alliance would have to react. So, what would NATO do?
Russia lost so much in Ukraine. Just imagine what would NATO do to Russia.
We've made it to the ice wall. This is crazy. This must be the edge of the world. Finally, after 2 days crossing the Drake's Passage. Ice wall right there. Wow.
Wow, look at these ice walls. I'm so stoked to provide some new evidence that the Earth is flat. So we jumped on the Zodiac and headed straight toward the land.
Flat Earth Squad. So I think the edge of the Earth is just behind there. We're gonna hike up over there. It should be just outer space and it just drops off the back there. That's gonna be the edge of the world.
So armed together with a few other Flat Earth believers, we headed directly towards the ice wall. We were getting closer and closer to the edge, but then all of a sudden, our guide said we couldn't go any further due to environmental protection boundaries under the Antarctic Treaty. I was skeptical, to say the least. So we headed back to our ship because independent travel isn't allowed here. Although I was actually happy because I had provided new evidence to show that this is the ice wall and the Earth is flat. You're welcome.
That's not an ice wall. It's just a cliff, bro. Resident Evil?
Why aren't the Anunnaki mentioned anywhere in the Bible? The Anunnaki are ancient deities that were worshipped by the Mesopotamians. The Mesopotamians believed that the Anunnaki created humans, yet there is no mention of them in the Bible whatsoever. Some scholars suggest that the reason that the Anunnaki aren't mentioned in the Bible is because the authors of the Bible weren't aware of their existence. But some others believe that a more likely explanation is that the Anunnaki were deliberately omitted from the holy text by religious leaders because it didn't fit the narrative that early Christians were trying to create. Ancient texts describe the Anunnaki as powerful beings that lived for thousands of years and were known for their advanced technology. They were revered as gods by the Sumerians. So is it possible that early leaders in Christianity didn't want to acknowledge the existence of other powerful beings because it could have threatened their own authority and power? What do you think the real reason is? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video and smash the like button if you want to see a more detailed video about the Anunnaki.
They are the fallen. Graphics, you know, unimaginable work. Ooh. Wow. Looks like Siberian tiger. Gorgeous.
The submarines
Beautiful.
are completely, you cannot find them in the sea. They are stealth beyond stealth. I interviewed the former commander of the nuclear subforces, a guy called Admiral Connor. Never given an interview like this before. And I said, like, how hard is it to find a nuclear-armed sub? And he said, Annie, it's easier to find a grapefruit-sized object in space than a nuclear sub under the sea.
What?
Jesus.
And these things are, by the way, I have a map in the back of the book that shows you how close adversaries, enemies, call them what you will, China and Russia, how close they come to the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States regularly, which means it reduces that launch time I told you about of 26 minutes, 40 seconds. That reduces it down to sort of 10 minutes or less.
Her voice is so soothing.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing.
This is amazing. This should be on Netflix. United States of Asia in America. Have you guys seen the US Mad Team?
Well, not in 2024. We don't know what year we are truly in. This is how crazy it gets. So there are 28-day lunar cycles. So from a new moon to a full moon, it takes 28 days. This is why we call it a month, which is a month, because the ancients used the lunar calendar. 364 days in a year divided by 28 is 13. Where is the missing month? We should have an extra month. Therefore, we are not truly in 2024. Everything's been changed, and I'll tell you why. It's because the celestial bodies govern us, and they govern your body. There are cycles in your body with water, with the moon. This is why we call it a menstrual cycle for women, because women are in harmony with the moon and the cycle of it. And it's the same with your body. The water in your body is being sucked or pulled by the moon. During a full moon, this is when people start to go crazy because the moon is pulling on the water in your body. So the ancients used to fast and be in sync with the moon. So because it affects our consciousness. So it's crazy, people. We don't even know what year we are in. And they are changing the calendars so that we are not in sync with the celestial bodies.
Doesn't the Ethiopians go by 13-month calendar?
Vietnam War was a nightmare for American soldiers. They were booby-trapped before they even saw the enemy. So much so that the US used chemical weapons to kill them. This is the first trap that the Vietnamese soldiers prepared for the Americans. Deep pits were embedded with spikes and then covered with weeds and plants to hide them. If an American soldier fell in, he would be disabled, if not killed. The spikes would also work underwater. In addition to the spikes, the Vietnamese soldiers also placed poisonous snakes in the traps.
That's crazy.
If an American soldier falls in, he'll be bitten by a poisonous snake. It was virtually impossible to treat. In order to trigger the traps for the cautious American soldiers, the Vietnamese also used hornets to force the American soldiers to run around and fall into the traps. With the use of advanced weapons, the Vietnamese soldiers had to move the battlefield underground. This is a tunnel dug by the Vietnamese. It goes in all directions and covers an area of nearly 250 kilometers. It's like an underground city. Inside, there were many smoke vents in the kitchen. Even if you cook under the enemy's feet, you won't be detected. And next to it, there's an underground well to provide safe drinking water for Vietnamese soldiers. Due to living underground for a long time, to boost the soldiers' morale, there was a small movie theater inside.
What?
It was powered by a bicycle generator. This generator was also used to power underground hospitals. Vietnamese soldiers would sleep on the second underground level in hammocks made from American parachutes. They usually operated late at night and always caught the Americans by surprise. The Americans blew poison gas into the tunnels to force out the Vietnamese soldiers. But the Vietnamese were prepared. The Vietnamese had installed trap doors at every key tunnel entrance to keep the gas out. Secondly, the Vietnamese had tunnel entrances everywhere, and in some places, they had to go underwater to get in. This guerrilla tactic of tunneling was too much for the Americans to handle. In the end, they used bombers to carpet bomb the ground. But because the tunnels were 20 meters deep and protected by an iron-rich laterite impact layer, the tunnels didn't take much of a beating. The American Army had to train a group of soldiers to enter the tunnels. These soldiers were tied to a rope. Every time they crawled a certain distance, they drew a sketch of the tunnel in their notebooks. Because of the many turns in the tunnels, the U.S. Army needed to be able to react very quickly. Otherwise, they could be killed at any time by waiting Vietnamese soldiers. In the tunnels, there were scorpions and snakes and sting traps. Once triggered, they would be trapped forever. The U.S. Army was helpless against the Vietnamese soldiers in the tunnels. They had no choice but to use the inhumane Agent Orange.
That's brutal, I'm not gonna lie. But in the end, what did they get out of this senseless war?
Apparently, NASA recorded God speaking from outer space. In late September last year, American scientists and Harvard professor Jerry Harrington was working in one of NASA's observatories to experiment with different sound frequencies. He could convert these electromagnetic frequencies to audio files and listen to sounds from space. This is often used to contact people on expeditions in space or predict if meteors are coming toward Earth. On September 12th, he was collecting some data. He heard something shocking, which sounded like a human voice, but it was very deep and slow. Jerry sped up the recording and claimed it sounded like someone saying, "Come to me, my child." Initially, he didn't think too much of this, as errors or strange coincidences can often happen using technology. But the day after what he heard, he was sure wasn't a coincidence. He heard 2 sentences from a human-sounding voice translator from the electromagnetic waves. He reported what he heard, and NASA immediately fired him and told him not to speak of any of this. The next day, Professor Harrington leaked what God said online. To hear it, you can just press on share more and comment what you think he said.
He said subscribe.
This is terrifying. So there's a specific place where hell is on earth. In the Bible, Jesus said, one of my disciples named Antipas would die and be murdered. Right now, Saint Antipas was murdered and he was killed in, that torture bowl. So they put somebody in like a metal bowl and like boil them alive. Yeah, that happened in Geneva, Switzerland. People are saying Geneva, Switzerland is the literal place of hell, is literally the portal to hell, or that's at least where the devil resides, because that's what it says in the Bible. Now check this out. Okay, do you know what else is in Geneva, Switzerland? CERN. CERN headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and the CERN logo is what? 666. CERN is working on particle generation and messing with matter of the universe to tear our dimension with the supernatural and the natural. Yeah. Do you think they are trying to open a portal to hell? Comment your thoughts and follow for daily theories.
It's open already. Look around at what's going on. Scary and fascinating at the same time. I hope everyone okay there. Oof. Happened on the 3rd June of 2020.
You're going to realize it one day. That happiness was never about your job or your degree or being in a relationship. Happiness was never about following in the footsteps of all of those who came before you. It was never about being like the others. One day you're going to see it. That happiness was always about the discovery, the hope, the listening to your heart. and following it wherever.
It would be so nice spending time with someone you love. What do you think?
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant to the true Emperor Marcus Aurelius,
but
father to a
son,
murdered son,
husband to a
husband to a
wife.
murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance.
This life
This life
was
was next. What we do in life
Echo in eternity.
echoes in eternity.
He was a soldier of Rome. Honor him.
Now we're free. We'll see you again.
But not yet.
But not yet.
Alright. This is one of the movie I learned English from. I must have watched it like 1,000 times, and I think I can still recite it back to back from start to finish.
Did you ever hear about the Grand Canyon theory? No. So the Grand Canyon, one of the world's wonders. There's a theory that the Grand Canyon holds something that none of us knew was there. So back in the 1850s, right? The Grand Canyon was used to mine gold. When people started mining it, the gold index crashed because they found so much gold there. Now what happened was the government and the military, they closed it off and they made it a sanctuary so that nobody can just go there and then take whatever they want. There was this one guy, his name was Seth Tanner, and he was an explorer. He explored this one cave and he claims what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
Oh, what did it say?
The Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, you know,
whole
the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, and the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price.
The best theory I heard so far about the Grand Canyon.
You should never do these 6 foolish things. 1. Never talk about your dreams to anyone. Remember, a fish with its mouth shut avoids the hook. 2. Never get too involved in other people's problems. Don't obsess as if they are your own. You'll forget yourself. 3. Don't use other people to get your emotional fix, because you will become helpless when they don't have time for you or are no longer around. Instead, build your emotional structure so that you can provide for yourself. 4. Never ask anyone for borrowed money. Don't lend money either. Money both breaks friendships and turns you into a beggar for your debts. 5. Never spend more than you earn. You'll become poor. 6. Never blame other people for your own problems. You will never be able to change your life as long as you think that other people are in control. Once you accept full responsibility, you will become unstoppable.
100% agree. And number 1 is the killer. Alright folks, thank you for staying till the end. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make a better content. There's a free gift below. And if you want to buy me coffee or support me through Patreon, the links are in the description below. Have a prosperous day and God bless.